Gobble gobble. Happy Thanksgiving, fantasygate. I'm not in my usual setup today. The other thing went awry yet again. It should be a more stable situation, but not a very good one. I had a bunch of things written down that are now gone, so bear with me as I rip through. This is going to be a special edition. It's going to be especially long, and I'm going to be looking at my phone a little bit. So the first thing that we have to cover, one of the reasons this is going to be long, is the final high points period. The third high points award. Right now, OBJYN scored about, I think it was 387.66. Very impressive. Nearly 130 per week for the first 3 weeks of this third. And they're out in front by quite a lot. I am in second place. I trail by about 52. Then I believe we have trailing by 81 and 82 respectively. Elementary, My Dear Watson, and Feeling Dangerous. They are followed by The Shitty Piece of Poop. They trail by, I believe it's in the low 70s. Elway's Way, they trail by 98. Oh, and Bruce Don't Call Me Leroy. They trail by, I think it's 81 and change. So, good job, Jared. Way to score out the first third. That leads me into the next thing we need to get into, the playoff picture. Right now, 3 teams have locked up their entry into the playoffs, but only 3. We have Feeling Dangerous from the Amateur Conference, and we also have You Can Let Goff and the Runnin' High Bitches in the Nugatory Conference. They have locked up playoff spots. However, the conference champions have not been decided. First and goal can still be the Amateur Conference champion in the first round bye that comes with it, and in the Amateur Conference, it is still possible for You Can Let Goff to win the championship and earn that first round bye. Apart from that, there are 3 playoff spots still available. Elway's Way and First and Goal. And see, look, I'm going to be doing this the entire bleeping time because everything's all timing out and being shitty. Happy Thanksgiving, by the way. Hope the kitchen is smelling good and you haven't made it to your third cocktail just yet. Let's see, Elway's Way, First and Goal, and Elementary, My Dear Watson would be our other 3 playoff teams if everything stays the same. It's unlikely to do so, but that's where we are. The other 3 teams that are on the outside looking in are yours truly, The Shitty Piece of Poop, and OBJYN. With The Shitty Piece of Poop, it doesn't seem like the odds are very smelly. She is the points leader. That team is the points leader so far this season. They win, and they are in because that is just elementary, as in that's who they play. Elementary, My Dear Watson. Should the Shitty Piece of Poop win, they are guaranteed a playoff spot by virtue of having more points and the same record as Elementary Dear Watson. So they're definitely going to be Shitty Piece of Poop, you win, you're in. There's nothing that OBJ or myself can do to get over her points, probably. So that's settled. As for the other 2, myself and OBJYN, several things have to happen. Elementary, 2 of these 3 teams have to lose. Elementary, My Dear Watson, First and Goal, and Elway's Way. If Elementary, My Dear Watson wins, then only one of those 2 teams have to lose in order for one of those 2 teams to get in. If all 3 of those, if Elementary loses and then First and Goal and Elway's Way both lose this week, OBJ and myself could both get in, and the Shitty Piece of Poop would be out. So that's, that's pretty much all I have to say about that. It's, well, apart from saying this is by far, the most significant final regular season week in the history of Fantasygate football, partly because of the rule changes. We've gone down to only 2 divisions, and also because, hey, great job, everybody. It's been a very competitive season. Very proud of everybody. I don't know what to do now. Right. Let's do the recap. Maybe. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, see? Bear with me. I found it. We start with this week's big blunder, the oh no of oopsies. The file this under D for dumbassery and T for told you not to. The commissioner, St. Sheldog, stubbornly refusing to swap out Patriot snack box Dak the Cack for literally any other quarterback. OBJYN went in with the only quarterback to post a fantasy score against that defense this year and stacked with tight end Andrews, trailed by 19 versus St. Louis stud Mark Ingram on Monday night. It went back and forth. In the end, Harbaugh let RG3 cool his garbage time hills for just one series too many for the commish. Obies win by 6. Both teams are 6-6. In this week's lone irrelevant game, meaning both teams are playing just for pride, Fantasy Knights took on UN Candid Kamara in a real barn burner, featuring famed fantasy studs such as Jacoby Brissett and Duke Johnson. Little wonder the combined score in this one was under 150. Squirrel's team is loaded with Houston Texans, not big players. But Jameis Winston went Oppo and Mike Evans this week. Fantasy Knights going into the final week on a bit of a heater, 3 straight wins. This week's edition of the Toilet Bowl was and was not a shock. First place team Yukon Luck Goff versus perennial contender First and Goal. Both of these rosters are built to flame out versus tough matchups, and apart from Jarvis Landry playing the sieve that is the Miami Secretary, these 14 starters had nothing but trouble. Amari Cooper played the Pats, Rodgers the Niners, Goff and Cup the Ravens, Barkley a pro football team, you get the point. Under 130 total, Landry is Firster's victory spread. Moving on now to a meaningful, close, and average scoring match, Elway's Way versus Elementary My Dear Watson. Mid-season, these two were atop their respective conferences, and now the Blue Trim Pumpkin lovers are trying to claw back into the playoffs while the captains of the obvious are trying to right a wayward ship and stay in it themselves. The Elways took an unusual tack, starting one of their two did not play tight ends and a bye-week D for donuts, but Godwin scores 2 long TDs while Chris, not Johnny Carson, copped the ball up twice. Mulepath is back in it, Watsonians are just hanging on. Next, Bruce Don't Call Me Leroy looking to spoil the surging Danger Gang. 4 of their 7 starters were on bye. It was unlikely to be a big week for Kung Fu Master, and while Cal Ridley and Jamal Williams went well over expectations, the rest of the squad didn't. Low point being -1 rushing yards for James White, 80 total. It was nearly enough though. They who think themselves scary disappointed from top to bottom with 2 exceptions, Mayfield and Fournette. They combined for 60, 91 total. Danger wins again. And finally, we had Steady Eddie, run and hide bitches, versus Erratic Panic, shitty piece of poop. Thursday favored the Hides. Hopkins gallops while Hilton disappears. And then it looked close Sunday morning. Christian McCaffrey matching Breeze nearly point for point. All else quiet. The afternoon is when things came into focus. In just 16 seconds, Derrick Henry scored 2 touchdowns, 4 run and hide bitches, en route to 31 while Russell Wilson was being pushed around in Philadelphia. The bitches win big. Sitting atop now the Nugatory Conference, the Poopsters now need a win to get into the playoffs. Okay, I went over again. I don't know what to say. I apologize. Hey, everybody have a happy and safe Thanksgiving. Once again, don't stay too warm. It means you're staying inside too long. Get out and enjoy the day. First big snowfall of the year. It's going to be a great weekend for college football. If Bama loses, if Ohio State manages to lose in that rivalry game against Michigan, if South Carolina manages to beat Clemson, the Pac-12 champion is going to the NCAA playoffs. Go Utes! And for those confirmed BYU fans, 3 of I know for sure, the Smiths and the Stevenses. I'm sorry you got that game against San Diego State. Have fun with that. For Cruz, Notre Dame's going to a big bowl. They play Stanford. That's going to be a really exciting game. In any event, hey, whatever you do this Thanksgiving Day, don't watch anything but the middle football game because the other 2 really suck. Even you Bears fans should just stay away because you don't want to see Jim Blau or whoever that is roll on your Bears. And look, whatever you do, whoever you do it with, remember, Thanksgiving is about fellowship, and also remember, bite me.